Minority lawmakers in the Senate today staged a walkout of plenary after threatening impeachment on the President Muhammadu Buhari over the state of security in the country. They have now given him an ultimatum. And a second day of protests of the labor union in solidarity with university lecturers. They took to the nation's capital, Abuja, on the street protesting the continued and prolonged strike action by ASU workers. A warm greetings to you from our Abuja studio. Everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbaloye in Abuja. Let's begin by letting you know that we're not keeping our eyes off the ball as far as this ASU strike is concerned. We are keeping tabs on how many days it's been now. It's exactly over a week since President Muhammadu Buhari has given the world that go and resolve the crisis and come back to me in 2 weeks. Some say, in fact, it shouldn't take up to that. In 1 week, that could be resolved. But it's 163 days since the university lecturers in Federal University in the country began the strike action, keeping students away from the classrooms. And the standoff between the federal government and the university lecturers continue, and the students continue to be idle. President Buhari is giving a 2 weeks ultimatum to the Minister of Education to ensure the standoff is resolved. Nigerians are now looking forward to the stakeholders getting their act together to resolve what has become a national embarrassment. Well, it's the second day of the protest by the Nigerian Labor Union members. Today, the nation's capital saw hundreds of the NASS members and their friends. They took to the streets. The Nigerian Labour Congress continued its protests in the nation's capital over the prolonged strike by university workers across the country. This comes a day after a similar demonstration held in various states of the Federation, except in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja. The protest began at about 9:30 a.m. after members of the NLC, leadership, and leaders of various affiliated unions, as well as members, converged on the Unity Fountain in the nation's capital. The protest was led by the president of the NLC, Mr. Ayuba Waba. The ASU president, Professor Emmanuel Oshodoke, was also present. Take a listen to the demands of the labor.
Is there any Nigerian government from PDP to APC from whom we have never gone on strike? Is there any? So we don't look at party. Have they done what we should? This started 2000. The committee to negotiate was set up in 2017, just 2 years after they took over. Until today, they have not finished negotiation. You show that party is not serious. It's not about APC or whether PDP or Labour Party. What have they done? You set up a panel to negotiate on your behalf in 2017, 2 years into your first tenure. We are in the last months toward your second tenure, and yet that panel had not concluded.
Nigerian workers cannot be divided. The attention cannot be diverted, and basically we remain focused, and basically it's a very serious issue. My children, 2 children, are in the public universities, if you are not aware. So I'm personally affected, as many parents. So this is a very serious national issue. So we shouldn't deviate. Yes, politicians can actually try to deviate our attention. They will try to postulate many other issues that are out of the place. Let them resolve the issue. If they resolve the issue, we'll be back. We'll be affected in this case. We are destroying the future of our younger generation. We are destroying the future of our youth. We are destroying the future of the future leaders of this country. Is that acceptable? It's not acceptable.
This is some of the labor leaders earlier today on the streets of Abuja. Well, the protesters took the march to the doorsteps of the National Assembly and the federal lawmakers to pass a message to them on the lingering university lecturer strike. The Nigerian labor unions met with some of the lawmakers, and this is some of the reactions they got from one of the representatives of the federal lawmakers.
The Senate is here with you today. We believe in your cause. And that is why on several occasions we have held meeting with the leadership of ASU and the executive. There is no country in the world, no civilized country in the world, where students in the university will be away from classroom for 5 months. Not to talk of 8 months, not to talk of 1 month. So we are with you. I confirm the receipt of this letter from the NLC in respect of your struggle. The struggle continues.
A member, a chieftain of the APC, and a senator, Professor Ajayi Barofres there. So much to talk about. Is it that the lawmakers are just, lions who cannot bite? Or what exactly is their move today all about? The impeachment threat on President Muhammadu Buhari. Well, some will say, look, the president is already going to leave office in the next few months. The elections are here. Why are you threatening impeachment? But the security situation in the country is something that is worth the senators' reaction and the manner in which they have taken it to that we get to dissect all of these issues. And we get to hear from the presidency how they're taking this and the meaning of this and how they are reacting to it. But we get to hear all those sides. Let's check out some of your political roundup stories, and we'll come back to talk about this.
The national women leader of the All Progressives Congress is asking party faithful to make use of the extension of registration of PVCs to obtain their voters' card ahead of the 2023 general elections. Speaking in Abi local government area of Cross River State while receiving new entrant into the party, she explained that the only way for them to perform their civic responsibility is by obtaining the PVC, as she urges them to vote massively for the APC.
Go and get your PVC. We will vote for APC as a party.
The governor of Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi, says the state is ready to optimize education for wealth creation, youth development, and technological solutions, describing the partnership with the Chinese government as highly desirable. The Chinese ambassador to Nigeria was in Ekiti State and partner in the state in the development of her Knowledge Zone project and utilization of nuclear technology to support critical sectors. The Independent National Electoral Commission in Katsina State has announced that it has taken adequate measures to ensure that residents are not being disenfranchised in the ongoing PVC registration exercise. In this regard, the Commission is also engaging relevant stakeholders such as traditional rulers, political parties, and security agencies in the security frontline communities to ensure that residents in the banditry affected communities get registered in a safer community. The Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says he will not be distracted by social media propaganda that is being peddled by opposition elements in the state who are hiding under the insecurity situation in the state to bring down his government. The governor made a statement in Olu town during the flag-off of the reconstruction and rehabilitation of the 22-kilometer Olu-Ngbe-Uruala-Akokwa-Uga Federal Highway. The governor says never will his government allow non-state actors to be used to destabilize his government, as he will continue to execute projects and programs that will have direct impact on the lives of the people. The governor in the same vein also flagged up the reconstruction and dualization of the 46-kilometer Owerri-Mbise-Umuahia Federal Highway.
I have come to serve because I know I will be a good servant. I have come to develop Imo State because I know that I can do it. I don't believe only on the blackmail of social media. I believe in strategic communication. I want what I will do or achieve to speak for me.
The caucus of the People's Democratic Party in the House of Representatives is wooing the former aide to Deputy Senate President Mr. Daniel Bwala to join the party after dumping the All Progressives Congress over the Muslim ticket. Led by the House Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu, the PDP lawmakers say the party is in search of detribalized individuals to join forces with them and wrest power from the APC in 2023. The lawmakers also hint on commencing an impeachment process against President Muhammadu Buhari over his failure to guarantee the security of lives and property of Nigerians.
The only thing we have come to tell you is that you are kind of person who is detribalized, is the kind of person we need in PDP.
Women in Port Harcourt are demanding equal opportunity in the running of the state in the 2023 general elections. These demands were made during an engagement with Rivers women at a town hall meeting put together by the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA. According to the FIDA Rivers chairperson, Adata Bio-Briggs, the interaction was necessary to inform the candidates of the needs of women in Rivers State before they get into office. And the Methodist prelate, His Eminence Samuel Uchekalu, says Nigeria as a nation is a precipice owing to frivolity, and only sincere leadership can salvage it. His Eminence Dr. Kalu made the statement during a media interaction with newsmen in Umuahia, Abia State, where he reeled out the importance of leadership in governance. His journey so far as a prelate, hinting that in few days he would be retiring.
Let us have hope. Let us pray for INEC. Let us pray for the political parties. Let us pray against violence during campaigning. Let people talk to us what they will do for us. In fact,
let's get to it, everyone. It appears federal lawmakers in the National Assembly, especially in the red chambers, are fed up. And this is about the security situation in the country. And today, when they appeared for the plenary in the upper chamber, it does look like it was a different kind of plenary that they were up to. They expressed themselves. Well, it was a minority leader now that we heard his voice loud and clear in the Senate, Senator Aduda, who spoke about the security situation and made an audacious motion which got some immediate repelling and reactions. Let me allow you to listen and see how this whole thing played out today on the floor of the red chambers.
To security in the country and all the issues around it. And we had also discussed that we're going to come back to plenary to discuss the efforts that have been made so far on the issues of security in the country. After which we will give an ultimatum to the president that he resolves this issue, otherwise we give an impeachment notice. And as such,
when you are going to come under your point of order, first, you are supposed to cite the order. Second, you are supposed to discuss with me what you are going to discuss. You didn't. Thirdly, I read the progress report. Thirdly, when I read it, when some of our colleagues were still not listening. Thirdly, we have already passed that stage. Look at where we are today. So, just hold on, please. So, at this moment, that point of order, I don't know what it is, but falls flat on its face.
Well, you heard the Senate president and his reaction to Senator Aduda. But this was how it all went down. Thereafter, the minority lawmakers, they walk out. Let me allow you to look at the sound, the natural sounds of what really happened. This was their immediate reaction after the gavel went down from the hands of the Senate president.
Invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Center for Women Development Act Amendment Bill 2022, SB 1042, first reading.
National Center for Women Development Act Amendment Bill 2022, SB 1042, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
The third business of the day is the presentation of
how it all went. They were moving out. It does look like the Senate president was going to continue with the proceedings in the red chamber. But when they did all of this, they went and addressed the press. This was their reaction to what happened on the floor. Senator Aduda again.
The minority caucus in the Senate, we also took into cognizance the fact that the Senate had at various levels, at various times, convened various security meetings, various security issues were discussed, and we did recommend to government various steps and measures aimed at curbing these issues of insecurity. We realize that even Abuja that we are in is no more safe, and all of you will agree with us. And so, at the closed session, we agreed that we will give the president an ultimatum that failing which, if it is not complied with, will move immediately to give an impeachment notice. And this we agreed at the executive session, at closed door session. So when we came out of the closed door session, we expected that the Senate President will brief the public on the issues that have happened, but however, that did not happen. So we have come here in protest to brief you and to let you know that we're with Nigerians in this struggle, and that we're worried that nowhere is safe in Nigeria. And as such, we have come out of the we walk out of the chambers in protest that the security situation in Nigeria is deteriorating, and urgent steps needs to be completely taken to ensure that these issues are curbed immediately. These are the issues that were discussed, and these are the reasons why we left the Senate plenary in protest. Thank you very much.
How soon will you formalize your impeachment threat against the president?
Well, we have given 2 months' notice, within which 6 weeks. Within 6 weeks precisely, within which these security issues should really be resolved. Even if it is, all our resolutions should also be implemented.
6 weeks. That is the ultimatum given to President Muhammadu Buhari. How does a president receive these kind of threats or ultimatum? Will he be able to fix things within this frame of time? Let's get some reactions from the presidency. I'm being joined by the president's media advisor, Mr. Femi Adesina, joins us virtually. Thank you so much, Mr. Adesina, for joining us tonight. Let me get your reaction. How does your principal react to this? How does he receive this kind of ultimatum? The lawmakers have made up their mind that in 6 weeks, if the security situation does not change in the country, they will begin an impeachment move on him.
Thank you. Good evening. You said the lawmakers, but earlier you had said minority lawmakers. The truth is that in this kind of scenario, minority will always have its say, while the majority will have its way. You know the configuration of the National Assembly, the configuration of the Senate. Those who spoke today are the minority of minorities. They will have their say as is needful in a democracy, but it will not go beyond that. I think it was just bravado. And very sadly, security is not something you subject to bravado. And you don't begin to issue flippant ultimatums in something that is a matter of life and death. They know in their hearts of hearts that they cannot achieve what they're saying. They're just wasting the country's time, wasting the time of the upper chamber of the National Assembly. They know they can't achieve.
It's the matter because this proceeding was just about the time when the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting was going on. Did this filter into that meeting? Was it raised at the meeting? If it was raised, what was the reaction of the president on it?
No, it didn't filter in at all. Not at all. And it was an unusually long meeting today because there were so many things to discuss, particularly the medium-term expenditure framework of next year's budget. It took a long time to reach a conclusion on that issue. And it was after we had left the council chamber that I got to my office and I saw the news scrolling. And later I got the complete content of what happened. By then, the president himself had retired from the council chamber. I didn't see him again till we left the office. So I've not had the opportunity to communicate with him on this issue. I doubt if it has also been officially communicated to the president yet, but I hope it will be done.
There is a liaison who interface between the National Assembly and the President. But before we get back into the meat of what was said on the floor of the Senate, let's talk about the threats that, the Abuja city, for anyone who is living in Abuja will feel a bit uncomfortable with, for some of the reports and the news that are coming. The law school Call-to-Bar program was taken out of the venue into town, taken away from the law school. In fact, the Ministry of Education has said the FGC in Kwali should be shot because of security threats. There are gunshots that have been heard in town, the attack on the presidential guard. Has the president reacted officially to some of these threats that is knocking on his doorstep?
Well, you said gunshots have been heard in town. I'm not aware of that. There have been rumors all over the place, so I don't think you are depending on those rumors. What happened in Kubwa is in the public domain. Well, in Buhari is in public domain. Everybody knows that. But to say there were gunshots in town, I'm not privy to that unless you want to substantiate it. Now, the question is, are those minority lawmakers responding now because the thing is coming near to Abuja, their comfort zone? Is that why they were playing to the gallery as we saw them earlier? Well, they are Nigerians. They have a right to talk about what is happening in the country. Everyone is concerned. But if they were like going into that bravado because it's coming nearer home to them, then it's not altruistic. They are just mindful of themselves, of their own well-being, of their own security. What matters now is the security of the entire country. And like the president has always said, he's doing his level best, and he will continue to do it. Our security agencies will also up the ante, and they will do better. Tomorrow, the president has summoned another security meeting with the head of the security agencies.
Maybe if you've been following the news, Mr. Additional, right here we reported the situation at that federal government college where some of the eyewitness accounts said they were hearing gunshots at night. This is in Abuja. So I don't know, has that been substantiated enough? Is that enough for the president to react? I mean, does that fit into the kind of reaction that, the kind of question that could get the kind of reaction that we need?
Did you determine where the gunshots came from? If indeed there was gunshot in town, was it from the security agencies who are combing all those areas to flush out those who are hiding in bushes and forests? You first need to be sure whether it was a gunshot of a confrontation. If it was not confrontation and it came from the security agencies, then it's for good. We shouldn't just conclude.
What is a gunshot, Mr. Additional, I believe? A gunshot in Nigeria is a gunshot in America, is a gunshot in Canada. It doesn't change the fact. When you hear gunshot in a city like Abuja, it's unusual. And so when people say they heard gunshot, and students are being taken away from school. A private university is going to shut. I actually told their students to go home right here in Abuja. There's some kind of tension and apprehension in town. And that's why, perhaps for those who are asking that they needed to hear from the president to address them on the state of security, which according to them is deteriorating. We're seeing terrorists attacking a correctional facility right here in Kuje, in Abuja. So these are situations calling for attention of the #1 citizen of the country. Those who are asking for the president to react to some of these things directly, speaking to them, are they right or wrong, or how would the president react to this kind of situation?
The very next day after that correctional facility was attacked, the president was there and he spoke. Your station carried it. So what else? What else? Here's it just now.
The president, with this kind of situation, because let me remind you, Mr. Additional, one of the things after about a year and a half or two, when we ask you and your colleagues in government about the security situation, you are quick to make reference to the situation in Abuja, where you made reference to the fact that there were attacks on the United Nations building, there were attacks on the police headquarters, but those are not happening. But recently, we are seeing attacks very close to Abuja and its vicinity and the perimeters of the nation's capital. In fact, the terrorists threaten that they were going to kidnap a governor and also kidnap a president. These are some of the reports that we are hearing. And perhaps you do not think that the president, perhaps based on what some Nigerians are asking, directly need to address them to calm the tension or perhaps to allay the affairs on this kind of situation. You don't think it's needed?
It could also be that the terrorists knew that we were going to amplify their threats. And that was why they made those threats. They know that the media, print, electronic, will amplify what they are going to say. Like it is said, the oxygen that the terrorist needs is the media, is publicity. So you are giving them that oxygen. And that was why they made those threats, because they knew that, well, politics today, Shewon Kibaloye was going to amplify whatever they say. And that's what you have just done.
I live in town in Abuja here. You live within the fortified walls of the Aso Rock Villa. This is not about amplification. Interestingly, you were on this other side of the divide, Mr. Additional. You were in the media as a practitioner, a senior one at that. The question is, when they attacked Kuje Correctional Facility, was that a warning enough for it to be amplified? When the Minister of Education said, go away from school, was that just drawing attention or something that we need to really pay attention to? The question tonight, Mr. Additional, is what the government is doing differently to stop some of these security threats.
Fine. Going direct to your question, what the government is doing is to address these issues. I just told you a short while ago that the president has summoned the security meeting for tomorrow. They are not going to be drinking coffee or tea there and just patting themselves on the back. It's going to be a frank discussion, and it will be, how do we sort these challenges that we have?
The comments of some of the lawmakers they made reference to is the statement made by the president. They alluded to the fact that the president said, look, the situation of the country, he cannot wait to, he pities the person who is coming after him about the situation of the country. And where they're asking the president to leave office, for those who think that it was justified, perhaps those who think that things are deteriorating, what do you tell them? Would you say that it is not, or would you say things are getting better? What would you be telling Nigerians tonight, Mr. Additional?
Well, we have plenty of anarchists in this country. I've had a very senior lawyer, somebody we respected so much, who was talking yesterday, asking the president to resign. The president was tired. He's an anarchist, even though he's a senior lawyer. Some of those lawmakers are anarchists. Instead of trying to mollify the situation in the country, instead of talking sensibly, instead of appealing to the positive sentiments of Nigerians, they are stoking the fire. They are anarchists. But the news we have for them is that many more Nigerians are positive than the anarchists we have in the system.
Perhaps we might want to anchor on this. First, I'd like to know whether or not the president will take a political move to douse the tension in the Senate, whether or not the minority lawmakers mean what they say, whether they are going to... I'm not sure any president will open his eyes or look on as an impeachment move is going to be made on him. This is not the first time we are hearing this in the country, but would there be any political move by the president to react, to address the situation, politically speaking?
Okay, before I take that, let me add to the last response I made. Some of those who spoke also referred to NSAS, that what is going to happen is going to be worse than NSAS. Now the question is NSAS something anybody should be in Nigeria. NSAS was anarchy. NSAS was carnage. NSAS was cannibalism. NSAS was all that was wrong with the society. Now, for anybody, whether lawyer or not, whether labor leader or not, to say what is coming is going to be worse than NSAS, that person is an anarchist. I repeat it, pure and simple, an anarchist. Now to your question, what will the president do? The National Assembly has a self-regulating mechanism. It is so composed that minorities cannot have their way. They cannot force things down the throats of the majority. Unfortunately, in that chamber or in the two chambers, you have sensible people who will say, no, yes, we have a challenge of security in the country. The president is doing his best. It has been addressed. Let us continue to encourage the security agencies to even do better. The president is not coming to wave a magic wand and solve this problem. Nobody has that magic wand. It is something that will be done methodically. It is something that will be done systematically. It is something that will be done by the affliction of time. It is not going to be by a magic wand. There's no magic wand to solve this kind of problem.
Quickly, Mr. Adesina, and this is perhaps how we anchor on this question. 7.5 years. And so some Nigerians will be asking you the question tonight, how difficult it is for you perhaps to defend what your government has promised Nigerians. Security is perhaps what your government boasted, that you have a general who is going to fix security situation in the country. Is it a matter of this government hiding his head in shame, considering what you boasted of, your campaign promises, and when you say methodologically or methodically, the language in which you use, the question will be, how many more time or how many more months do we need to see the methodological approach to how to solve this situation that some people have described as a failure?
Well, people who have described it as failure have rights to their opinion. It doesn't make them right. There are millions of Nigerians who still believe that the government has done and is doing its level best on this matter of security. Now, yes, the party promised that it will secure the country. And listen to the president anytime talk about his 3 priorities for Nigeria, right from first term to second term, and now to 10 months, 1 day to the end of the administration. He will say, 1, we will secure the country. 2, we will revive the economy, and 3, we will fight corruption. Those 3 still remain as his topmost priorities. Now, when you want to assess a government, you assess that government by what it has promised to do and how far it has gone in achieving those promises. In security, consider the first year of the administration in the first. Was it the same way as it inherited? No, there was improvement in the security situation in the country in the first year. In fact, the insurgency, which was the main problem in the country, was beaten. That up to the point that it was said that Boko Haram had been technically degraded. But you see that later there was a resurgence. Not only a resurgence, it became hydra-headed. Insurgency was the main problem in 2015. Later banditry joined. Later kidnapping joined. Later court killings joined. It became hydra-headed. And so you don't begin to now say a government has failed for a problem that suddenly spiraled out of control. Security is a challenge. 10 months, 1 day to the end of the administration, anything can still happen, a lot can still happen. You don't begin to conclude that it has failed on security when its time is not up yet. For all you know, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, this problem may be over. It can get done. That is how we should be positive-minded. And of course, there are successes in different areas: infrastructure, agriculture, social security, many, many, many. So you don't take just one issue and use it to conclude that the government has failed. It's never done. There's no government in any part of the world that has solved all the problems in the country. It has never happened, and it will not happen.
It's up to Nigerians to judge how they feel. They were the ones who voted for your party and your government. It's up to them to judge. But one thing that we are hoping, I'm an incredible optimist about the fact that Nigeria will get better and we can get things done. Yes. Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Femi Adesina, for joining us. President Buhari is a special advisor on media. Thank you indeed for your thought.
But don't also forget,
all right, thank you so much indeed. We'll take a break, everyone, and when we return, our conversation on this matter continues. Is it a case of the lawmakers just threatening for the sake of it? Senator Abaribe, our former Senate Minority Leader, will be joining us on the reasons behind their move today on the floor of the Red Chamber. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. They were angered by the action of the Senate President. All the lawmakers, most of them elected on the platform of the other political parties other than the APC on the floor of the Senate, took turns to walk out of the legislative chamber while the plenary was ongoing. But some APC lawmakers appear to also be supporting the move. Let's get to know what exactly was behind the minds of the lawmakers when they took that decision. I'm being joined by a former minority leader of the Senate, Senator Abaribe. Thank you so much, Senator, for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
I'd like you to first and foremost react to some of the things that Mr. Femi Adesina said regarding the move by you and your colleagues today.
There are so many things he said. I don't know which one.
He says braggadose. If you are taking the move, is it because it is now close to home that you are now decided to make that decision? I mean, all these are happening now because some of these security threats are nearing Abuja, where you live, and that's why you're making that decision.
Sean, I think that sometimes I go by what the former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola, used to say. He would call it my takeaways. My takeaway from the interview is the last part when you asked him, the presidential spokesman, after 7.5 years, would you say that you have done something? In those three areas that you mentioned, security, economy, and so forth. And of course, what did you hear? Oh, the president is going to call another security meeting tomorrow. Look, we're in dire straits, Seun. It's not because it's coming home. It is because we pointed this out. We pointed it out since 2016. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
Since 2016, 2017, shall you remember that I was the first person on the floor of the Senate to point out and say, if Mr. President is not up to the task, it's about time he steps aside. 2017, we are now 5 years down the road. At that time, it was just a creeping movement, starting from the northeast to go to the northwest, to come to the north central, to go to the southwest, to go to the southeast, and now surrounding Abuja. So if you say it's because of today, then it's not true.
Can you make true to your threat? Do you have the numbers to threaten President Muhammadu Buhari, whose party has the majority on the floor of the Senate? Can you get a concurrence from your colleagues in the Green Chamber? Because in terms of numbers, politically, some people will say it's totally impossible.
I think that some people also sat in Abuja and said, it is impossible for these insurgents to move from the northeast. Where are we today? It's very wrong for anybody to say you don't have the numbers. That's not true. Most of the APC senators are with us. And at the point at which this starts, that is when Nigerians will know that almost every senator is fed up and can no longer continue to see a situation that looks like what happened in the time of Rome. Nero fiddling while Rome is burning. This is exactly what is going on today.
The question is, why do you want to impeach a president whose time is almost over?
That is the point. Do we wait until this administration crashes the country, or do we take action to prevent it?
Is the threat of impeachment a way to resolve the problem?
The Senate and the National Assembly has a lot of things they could do, have been doing it. And since the last Senate to this present Senate, have been doing almost everything that is necessary, including giving this administration everything that they have asked for. And it is because we have been giving this administration everything they have asked for that the Senate has the tag of a compliant Senate. There's no amount of names that we have not been called. Everything in an effort not to be seen, for somebody to say that we are impeding anything that this administration wants. But the bottom line today that we have reached is that we are in a state of sheer incompetence. There's no other way you can mention it. No other way you can dice it and slice it. No other way you can.
Is it that the president needed to do some other things and he's not willing to do it? I mean, when you say incompetence, is that a fair statement to judge the president who has said that he's doing his best to resolve in fact, he's going to have another security meeting tomorrow.
That is what we're saying. How many security meetings have we had? Every time something happens, you gather all of them and say you're going to have another security meeting. Nothing comes out of it. It gets worse. So the point now is asking the rest of us to just fold our hands in order for this administration to derail this country. I don't think it's in anybody's interest. And we are talking from the point of view that we have seen that they can no longer do anything. How could a president, after what happened in Kuje, go there, let the whole world know, oh, something is wrong? What has happened? What has happened since then?
What do you suppose that the president should have done? I mean, if you say that things are deteriorating, things are getting bad security-wise, is there one thing that you have in mind? Because if you impeach the president, if you have the powers to do that, then someone gets into office. Someone from the APC, possibly, I mean, most definitely. The question is there something that you hope that the president could have done that he's not doing?
Just one thing. The buck stops on your table. You are the commander-in-chief. a major matter like Kuje happens, no head rolls. Everybody folds their hand and continues going. I was just looking at you when you were discussing and asking the spokesman to the president, what will happen? I think you mentioned it rhetorically. That the minister has been given 2 weeks to resolve the ASU issue and all that. If nobody's fired for doing anything, for not doing anything, why do you think anybody would try or bother himself?
Do you
the reason why you are president? Listen, during the Second World War, one of the best commanders in the United States was fired by the president at that time during the war. And if nobody, look, you have to do things to show that you care about what is going on. The impression is being created very, very ominously that there is some method to this madness, that there is some collusion going on, that people are being left to just do what they want in Nigeria. And if you go on the street of Nigeria, you will get that impression. And if you're in charge, you need to do something to disabuse our minds. But nothing is being done, giving rise to everybody speculating. Who knows what is going on? Who knows whether these people just want to come, take over the country? There is nothing that you can see.
Senator?
Yes.
Mr. Adesina has asked a question that you're just a minority. At best, your voices should be heard, but you do not have the say. I mean, you might have your say, but you might not have your way. Is this a mere threat that carries no weight?
Well, unfortunately, Mr. Adesina is not a member of the National Assembly and doesn't know how things go within the National Assembly. It may start with one person. It may start with two. And it becomes something that is just rolling and gathering a lot of moss. And so we will now see what will happen. Because, like I said, what happened today, you could see it. I can tell you for free. Nobody sat and planned that there was going to be a walkout. Nobody. People just got exasperated. The reason why they got exasperated was the cavalier manner that the matter was being treated by the Senate president. And everybody said, does it mean that you don't also take this thing seriously?
So it's the anger against the Senate president. So
no, I didn't say it's the anger. I said the manner cavalier manner.
Okay, so the question here,
and I'm using my words very carefully.
Yeah. Senator Abaribe,
yes.
If you succeed in impeaching President Buhari, what next?
Then the person who takes over will know that his job is also on the line. Then any other president that comes will also know that his job can also be on the line, and you do your work. The reason why you came out and running for an office as strong as the president is because you told us and you gave us your assurance that you can do the job. If you can do the job, then, like the people say, if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Senator Abaribe, perhaps we anchor on this note. The question is, why an impeachment move is coming at this time is attributed now, seen by the ruling party as simply political. Because Precisely. It's coming at the time that an election is coming.
Okay, let me also respond to you by using the words of Governor El-Rufai, who, when he was also confronted at the time that APC was not in government and said, you were trying to politicize, and so he said, solve the problem, then you remove the politics. So I'm telling APC, solve the problem, and then you remove the politics. Because I can't stay there, I'm representing people of Abia South, and everything is going bad, and you're telling me to stay here and engage in regime protection. Why should I do that? Is that not what they sent me here for? They didn't send me to say, let the president be in office. No, they sent me to put heat on the president. That is why we are here. A minority is supposed to put heat on him when he is not doing his job. If he's doing his job, we clap for him.
All right. Senator Abaribe, former Senate Minority Leader, thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Well, and that's our show for tonight, everyone. Whatever you are doing, please keep safe. I'm sure I'll keep my lady. Bye for now.